Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I can't believe I'm doing a September wrap-up video already. The month has absolutely flown by and I feel it's not been very long since I was talking to you about being in a slump. So I've not finished most of those books that I was slumping through, and so I will not be talking any further about those until I finish them and have something to report. Before I went away on a lovely reading retreat, I finished 2 books, and I finished a third one while I was away on the retreat. And then I used that time to start another 5 books. I'm going to talk you through what I read when I went away. We went away in a group to Gladstone's Library in Wales. This is one of my favourite places in the world. You can go and sit by the fire and read books and eat sticky toffee pudding and drink coffee and sit in the reading rooms and wander around the village. I'm so annoyed to be back to reality because we had an absolutely wonderful time. I think everybody who went agrees with me on that. And it was just great to spend time with so many lovely bookish people. So if any of you are watching this, mwah, I miss you all already. And I'm going to talk through what I read while I was away. But because I wanted to read a lot of different books so that when I read them I'd have that memory of being back in my happy place, I went for breadth rather than just reading one at a time. Which, to be fair, is my usual reading tactic anyway. So I'm probably reading about 12 books at the moment, but they're all different from each other, so I think I'm managing to just about follow along with them. First I'll tell you about the books I finished, and then I'll talk you through my retreat, which was lovely. So grab yourself a cup of tea and yeah, let's get started. So the first book that I read this month was actually an ARC. Do we call them ARCs or ARCs? I've seen I got an ARC from Station Books and read this on their behalf as their friend who likes to input with the mystery section. This one is The Killer Question by Janice Hallett. So if you're familiar with Janice Hallett, she writes epistolary murder mysteries. So the first one was set in an amateur dramatics local theatre group. Then there was the Twyford Code, which was all written in kind of messages that were left as like voice notes. And yeah, The Christmas Appeal is my favourite by her because it was just so extremely funny. If you've not read the Appeal, which is her debut, then it probably wouldn't make as much sense, you wouldn't get as much out of it, but that is a brilliant Christmas novella. Killer Question, I think it's like her 6th or 7th, and this one is set in a local pub quiz, and it is more of the same. So if you enjoyed the others, you'll know exactly what you're getting yourself in for. We have like a series of documents, it's text messages, WhatsApp groups between them, the characters and their interactions and transcriptions, and it's silly, it's ridiculous, it's funny, and it made me laugh out loud on a train. Ooh. Interesting noises. And yeah, would I recommend you pick this up. If you liked her other ones, you'll like this one. You can start anywhere with her novels. I wouldn't suggest starting with the Twyford Code. I think that one was weaker than the other ones that I've read so far, but this is certainly a jolly good place to start. It's full of all the things that we like about her. The twists, quite like lightly satirical. So if you like kind of Richard Osman's books, yeah, you'll probably like this too. I do wish she'd be a little bit more concise. This one was about 450 pages or so. Could have done with cutting down by about 100 pages because reading the kind of walls of text, although it's easier than kind of reading prose because you know but you do feel like you're taking quite a lot in. And yeah, it probably could have do with trimming down a little bit. If I was the editor, I will be on that. But it was very enjoyable, very light-hearted, similar tone to the others, and had some twists in there too. So yes, if you like that sort of thing, if you like a cosy mystery, add that one to your list. Another book that I read and was a little bit underwhelmed by, I'm afraid, because this one took me, for a very, very short book, this one took me a very long time to read, because I was reading it before bed. The Hotel by Daisy Johnson, which is a series of stories set around a mysterious hotel. These stories are like, the blurb had me expecting something a bit Shirley Jackson, a little bit creepy, but they really are very, very, very short stories. So short, in fact, that they don't really get going. There's not a lot of meat to them. So I kind of don't really feel like I can tell you whether this was good or bad, because I really feel there wasn't really much to judge. Like, it didn't evoke enough for me, because it didn't really feel like, each story didn't really feel like it got started. And although there were creepy moments, there was nothing really that stuck in my head all that much. So I've got another book by Daisy Johnson, which is a longer form work of hers. And yeah, I didn't hate it, but I was disappointed, and I didn't really feel very satisfied. And it was a bit of a, like I say, I expected more, because I love hotel books. I think it was originally written for radio, so maybe these stories work better if they're performed. Because if they were originally done, you know, to be read as like character pieces for radio, that might work a little bit better for them. So yeah, maybe I'm not reading it in the format intended. Certainly not bad by any means, but I wanted a little bit more, and I was left unsatisfied. I wanted the stories fleshing out a little bit, and I think the writing was good enough. So, you know, maybe with a bit more time, a little bit more lengthening, we could have got a bit more with that one. The other book that I finished, and this is the one that I finished when I was at Gladstone's on retreat, was Endling by Maria Reva. This book got a lot of hype for the Booker longlist and shortlist. It did not make the shortlist, and I am quite disappointed about that. This book is the full package. It's got it's got depth, it's got characters, it's got plot, it's got metafictional elements that are done really well. There's just so much going on in this book. So you've got overlapping storylines. You've got Yeva, who is a conservationist, and her obsession is rare snails and trying to basically collect them so that they don't become extinct. And so she's got her own little mobile lab that she's funded. She's got this rare snail called Lefty, whose spiral goes anti-clockwise instead of clockwise, which apparently was inspired by real events. And yeah, so she's trying to find a mate for Lefty. And then you've got two girls who she meets through the marriage industry that she is part of in order to try and fund her research. Nastia and Sol, they're a pair of sisters who are basically planning a heist to try and lure their mother out of hiding. They've got an activist mother who has disappeared, and they have this great kidnapping plan to see if they can lure her back. And that's basically that's the basis kind of underlying premise of the story. Then obviously the Russians invade, and all of their plans get completely turned upside down, and we have some kind of auto-fictional, metafictional elements coming in as well. It's extremely clever. There's a lot of moving storytelling here. It's also irreverently funny, despite the subject matter. There's so much clever storytelling here. I won't give away what happens, but this really, in my opinion, should have been on the shortlist. Have I read everything on the shortlist? Can I actually say that it was better than everything on the shortlist? No, but this was a fantastic piece of literature. I gave it 4 stars out of 5 because I think the ending probably, I wanted a little bit more from the ending in terms of wrapping up storylines, etc. But it still managed to pack a lot of punches with its writing. So Endling I was very impressed by, and I would highly recommend it to all of you. Once I finished Endling, I finally picked up The Will of the Many. And I know a lot of you will be very pleased with me for doing this. Lady Mare from Lady Mare Reads will particularly be happy about this. She is always talking about how amazing this book is. So I have very, very high expectations, but I think this book may have dragged me out of a slump, because what a beginning. Like, I can't remember the last time I felt so compelled to read a book, to turn the pages, to, you know, it's dragged me right into it with its world building and its intrigue and its, yeah, with its writing and its premise, basically. It's set in a world where the world is basically designed as a hierarchy where people submit to people above them in level, and that kind of will that they submit is used almost as a magic system. So it's a magic system and a power system, and in the middle of it all we've got Viz, who is an orphan who has basically beef with the hierarchy, and we don't know all about it yet, and I'm only kind of about 120 pages in or so, but yeah, the story already has movement in it. It already has flow. It has lots of threads that I'm wanting to follow. We have a dark academia vibe going on, and it's quite a Roman inspired fantasy. So, you know, gladiators, the kind of architecture that's inspired is all kind of Roman inspired, except with magic contraptions and things. I'm actually reading the paperback, but this is my hardback version of it. So far, it is living up to all of my expectations, and it was an absolute pleasure to read it in Gladstone's, which is the ultimate kind of dark academia setting. Very much looking forward to seeing where this one goes, and given the endorsement that this has had from friends that I trust, I expect it won't let me down. And I believe the sequel, the next in the trilogy, is coming out later this year. Another book that I am reading, and again, I'm not actually very far through any of these. This is Dumb Witness by Agatha Christie. It's the next Poirot. As you can see, there's like a little Poirot list there. This is where it is. This is how far down in the Poirots I've come. I'm reading them all in order. I'm a huge fan of the David Suchet series. It's one of my favourite series of all time, and I would say it probably even surpasses the books in its greatness. Obviously, the stories were absolutely inspired, and this one has Bob the dog, who is, I believe, a fox terrier. So far, this is, yeah, like any other Agatha Christie book. It's got all the ingredients, and Hastings is once again Hastings in the book is so irritating. But like, is it cute? I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm enjoying that one. This is one that I read most of when I was at Gladstone's. And this one is Murder in the House of Omari by Taku Ashibe. Now, this is a modern murder mystery, a modern historical murder mystery. So it's written by a contemporary author, but it's set in the 1940s, kind of during the war. And it's very interesting to read a book set in Japan around that time. Yeah, it took a while for any murders to happen, but murders have indeed happened. We have a big cast of characters. I absolutely love Japanese crime novels, and there is a big list of them in this book that I have written down. We've got lots of we've got lots of intrigue. The House of Omari is a merchant house in Osaka, in one of the districts, and we do get a lot of the history of the area, which I'm assuming is kind of a true history of the area and the culture around that time. And yeah, we've got the family of merchants and several murders. We have a lot of foreshadowing devices at the beginning. Someone goes missing. Someone dying in a hospital room in modern times, says that's why I had to kill them all, which we've no idea who, we've no idea why. And we've got quite a lot of detectives here. We've got the doctors, we've got the police, and we've also got a private detective. So yeah, we have lots of food for mystery there. And I think I've got another couple of 100 pages left. But yes, I'm very much enjoying it. A book that I'm struggling to read, and I think someone else who was on the retreat also struggled a little bit with this one, and because she was trying to read it as well. And that's Will There Ever Be Another You by Patricia Lockwood. Now, Patricia Lockwood is amazing. She's a poet, she's funny, she's just got a really unique voice. Her covers do not do her justice. The covers to her books do not do the subject matter justice. Her writing is irreverent and subversive, and yeah, it just doesn't say that, does it, this cover? She's fantastic, and I enjoyed her memoir, Priest Daddy. That was, I mean, her dad is just this, he's a character. And he's her best material. Like, the way she writes about him is just, yeah, with affection. But No One Is Talking About This is basically about how social media is destroying the world. And then the second part of it, which it feels like it's a novel in two parts, because the first part is about social media destroying the world, and the second part is a moving tribute to her niece. And yeah, although the two parts don't seem to fit together, I think reading this one, there's probably a lot more auto-fictional elements than I perhaps was aware of when I was reading it, because it's very much sold to me as a novel. Her writing in this one is mainly about the illness that she suffered and the kind of psychological environment that she found herself in during the pandemic. The first chapter was absolute fire. The first chapter was brilliant. It was about a trip to Scotland. It had everything. It got me right in the feels, and it was just a genius piece of writing, the first chapter. And the second chapter I related to very, very, very hard as somebody who was unwell during the pandemic too. I found myself it really resonated. A lot of what she was saying really, really resonated with me. And that was part one. I've just finished part two, and part two was all over the place. Like, she was like reading Anna Karenina on mushrooms and things, and it's so hard to follow her thoughts. And like, I'm sure there's kind of interesting kind of cultural criticism in there. I found, like I say, the first two chapters were absolutely brilliant, but could have done with a bit more clarity, I think, in order to, to fully engage with the middle section. So I'm going on to part three, which I'm assuming will be different again, because she has divided it up. Her writing is brilliant throughout. But like I say, part two didn't speak to me in the same way as part one did, and one of my friends who was reading it, I think, DNF'd it. By all means, read this book. Patricia Lockwood again, she's unique, she's brilliant, but I'm hoping it'll pick up again before the end. Another book that I started on my last day in the retreat is The Lonely City by Olivia Laing. They've had a few books that have had a lot of attention recently. They're an up-and-coming author, and this one is about being lonely. And the first few chapters that I've read of this are speaking to me. They're beautiful. They're about the disorientation that one feels when a romantic relationship that one held hope for is suddenly kind of taken away like a tablecloth. The disorientation and the disorienting loneliness that brings on, and the kind of sudden awareness of how alone one is at that particular hiatus. And it's probably kind of the moving from a state of expectation to a state of quiet. That, you know, that really brings that on. Also, they've moved to a new city, so they're reflecting on loneliness, and so far it is a brilliant piece of writing. They are talking about Edward Hopper, who, although was very reluctant to be the you know, the, what's the word, emblem for all loneliness, people see that in his work. So, and I feel that from looking at his work. There's almost kind of a liminal space about it. It's just speaking to me. I'm only on, like I say, I'm fewer than 50 pages in, but so far this I think is going to be a bit of a special one. I don't want to speak too soon. Often when I do that with non-fiction, you know, it opens really, really well and I think this is fantastic. And then it kind of peters out. But yeah, Olivia Laing is up and coming at the moment. I'm seeing a lot of their books about, including their novels and their non-fiction. So, and what a beautiful cover. So yeah, very much looking forward to finishing that one off. I can also report that since I got home, I've started to enjoy Death of the Author a bit more. It seems to be picking up. There's more going on. There's more tension, more conflict, more going on. So I'm hoping that the second half of that will be a little bit more exciting, because I have struggled really hard to get into that one. I did bring Fourth Wing with me and then didn't read any of it. I left The Eye of the World at home because that's one I've been kind of reading before bed here. It's very and I've got the whole half of that book left to go. Solenoid is on hiatus. Although I did watch half of Disco King's review. He does a lot of Booker videos, and he's made me want to read it again. Yeah, so I didn't watch the whole video because I didn't want spoilers, but I think I just have to be in the right frame of mind for it, and it isn't that time at the moment. So yeah, so Solenoid is on hiatus. I'm reading a couple on the Kindle. I'm reading Notes on Heartbreak by Annie Lord, which, you know, she seems to be dealing with it in quite an adult and sensible way, which I can't really relate to. What else? Oh, I'm reading The Dispossessed by Ursula Le Guin. I started reading it when I was down near London, and yeah, I just felt like some classic sci-fi. But again, I'm kind of dipping in and out. On audio, I've got Sea Scraper, which again I'm not particularly vibing with. It's very quiet, it's very understated, and there's a lot of phlegm. I don't know if the author is aware of this, but ew. I've got The Name of the Rose going on audio, and that was definitely a mistake because I definitely need the visual cues to be able to take in what's happening with that one. But the narrator has a very, very nice soothing voice. Yeah, if you want a nap. Anyway, that was my September, and we are coming up to October now. I already did my autumn TBR video. All of that still stands. I've got the books that I took to Gladstone's with me, and I will be making my way through those. Towards November, I'm going to hopefully get some Christmas crime on the go in time to make a video about that. So yeah, it's going to be mystery and dark academia, I feel, for the next couple of months. So if you're on board with that, then give me a like and subscribe and come along with me. It's been a pleasure to see you. Take care and bye for now.